Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Welcome to my channel. I really want to thank you and I want to tell you that I appreciate you for being a viewer, for being a subscriber. I want you to know that I work very hard on this channel to bring you the latest information, to bring you the latest news, and to tell you what's going on in our country, to tell you what's going on in our economy, and to educate you about what's likely to happen to your money. The Ignition Time channel was originally designed to educate you about the country, the economy, and about money. And I can tell you that now, during Christmas Eve, it has never been more important for our viewers and subscribers, for our fellow Americans, to get the truth, to get accurate news. I know this is a highly stressful time for many of us because we are waiting for the president to make a decision, hopefully to sign the package. Now, keep in mind that the president has not said that he will indeed veto the package, and if he does not sign by next Monday, we could see a government shutdown. Just pretty unimaginable to think about a government shutdown in the middle of a pandemic, and just literally after Christmas, right before New Year's Eve. So this unfortunately is where things stand right now. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes I find it hard to believe that I'm even reporting things like this because this is such an unbelievable environment that we live in. In fact, today, Josh Gottheimer, the Democrat from New Jersey, and Tom Reed, the Republican from New York, who are the co-chairs of the Problem Solvers Caucus, were actually interviewed on CNBC. And keep in mind, Tom Reed is a supporter of the president, and they were asked to chime in on where things stand right now, the need to do something right now. And I got to tell you that these two, Josh Gottheimer and Tom Reed, make a lot of sense. They seem to be the voices of reason. But unfortunately, we have the top leaders, House Speaker Pelosi, the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, as well as the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. They're just not able to see, to come to a consensus. And here's the funny thing: when they do come to a consensus, and when Congress does indeed vote to pass a law, which basically is what happened with this $2.3 trillion package, the president essentially decided that he didn't like it in its current form. Again, what's interesting is the president did not specifically say that he would not sign it. So this is important. The president did not say, I'm not going to sign it. He did not say, I'm going to veto it. But what he did say was he wants Congress to make those changes and send the bill back to him. So that to me is a little bit encouraging, but we're going to have to wait and see what actually happens. So let's take a look at this video with Josh Gottheimer. It's a CNBC video with Josh Gottheimer, Democrat from New Jersey, and Tom Reed, who's a Republican from New York. And let's listen to what they had to say in an interview today on CNBC. Now, we'll start with an analysis of where things are right now, and then I'll let you know what I think of these comments from these two, what appear to be reasonable lawmakers. Let's chime in, and I want you to tell me what you think. Let's take a look.
Look, it's a mess here in Washington, Scott. That's just the only way to describe it. I mean, we don't have any idea where any of this is going to go. The president says he doesn't like the bill that his team negotiated, that he had an opportunity to participate in for months. Take a look at the numbers. Overall, this is a spending and COVID relief bill. It's $2.3 trillion top to bottom. $900 billion of that is for the COVID relief piece of it. The president suddenly calls it a disgrace. He says what he wants to do is increase those stimulus checks per person from $600, which is in the bill, to $2,000 per person. So Nancy Pelosi said, okay, if you want to do that, we'll do it. She's going to offer a unanimous consent offering this morning, expected to raise that stimulus check amount.
Now, keep in mind, this video was filmed earlier today. This video, CNBC, a clip that I'm showing you, was from earlier today. And we know since then that House Speaker Pelosi tried to pass something by unanimous consent, the $2,000 stimulus check bill, but it was rejected by the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who's a Republican, because this would have needed unanimous consent. That's why it's called a unanimous consent vote. So he basically shot it down. The Democrats are going to come back and vote on it again on Monday. But again, these are the partisan games that are actually taking place as we speak. At the time I'm recording this video, we haven't heard from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. We haven't heard from him, but we have heard from Roy Blunt, who is the Republican, the number 4 Republican senator from Missouri, and he basically said that he wanted the president to sign it, and he felt that would be the best solution. Could the president still sign it and surprise us? Yes, that is quite possible. But let's go back to this clip and listen to what some lawmakers are saying. Let's just go back to that clip and we'll pick up where we left off.
$1,000. She's going to call the president's bluff on it, Scott, and say, let's do this thing. That puts Republicans in the very awkward position of now voting against the thing that the president says that he wants. Kevin McCarthy, the Republican leader, sent a note to his members, and here's what he wrote. He says he's going to offer something else. He says House Democrats appear to be suffering from selective hearing. They have conveniently ignored the concerns expressed by the president and shared by our constituents that we ought to re-examine how our tax dollars are spent overseas, while so many of our neighbors at home are struggling to make ends meet. So Kevin McCarthy says he's going to try to strip out some of the funding that the president has singled out that he doesn't like from this package and separate this massive bill into different pieces and then maybe move those pieces. Neither one of these efforts is expected to win the day today. Republicans are going to vote down the Democratic amendment. The Democrats are going to vote down the Republican one. And so once this is all said and done, we're at the beginning of the race line again and far away from the finish line here in Washington as we try to figure out what the president wants and where all this is going to land. The big question here, as everyone's calling everyone else's bluff in Congress, is the president bluffing as well, and will he ultimately sign the combined package? None of that is knowable at this point, Scott.
So I want my viewers and subscribers to tell me and let me know, in your opinion, is this a bluff on the part of the president? Do you believe that the president is bluffing and is likely to change his mind? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, because this whether it's a bluff or not, there are lives at stake here. There are millions of our fellow Americans on the verge of unemployment. Again, matters important to the country, the economy, and our money. Millions of our fellow Americans are facing eviction. There were, again, I've mentioned this earlier, there are individuals who are going to be hired on Monday because the Paycheck Protection Program money was expected, but they are not going to be hired simply because that Paycheck Protection Program money is not coming until the president actually signs the bill. So that's what we have right now. Just again, an astonishing situation, a very painful situation for millions of our fellow Americans. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the fact that this could be a bluff, or does the bluff need to be called out? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But again, people's lives are at stake here, and this is not even something
Look, it's a
that
mess
should.
here in Washington, Scott.
This is not even something that we should be discussing right now. But unfortunately, this is where we are. So let's pick up with that video, and we'll now take a look at an interview with Josh Gottheimer and Tom Reed.
President bluffing as well, and will he ultimately sign the combined package? None of that is knowable at this point, Scott.
Okay. Eamon Javers, thank you, and a Merry Christmas to you, as always. Meantime, New Jersey Representative Josh Gottheimer is going to join us right now, along with the New York Representative Tom Reed. They are co-chairs of the bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus, and they've been bill efforts thus far. Congressman Gottheimer, this just are we playing politics all over again? I know you guys are trying to be the good guys here, but there's something else happening.
The whole thing's incredulous. I mean, we worked for months, as you know, Democrats and Republicans, not just in the House but in the Senate. We got to an agreement. The president's representatives, including the Secretary of Treasury, was at the table. We all agreed to this and voted in the House and the Senate overwhelmingly with support from both sides. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, the president decides to hold this hostage. It makes no sense. He's trying to undermine the very piece of legislation that he helped craft. And what makes very little sense is that you're talking about on Christmas Eve here, where tomorrow, on Saturday, 14 million Americans who are unemployment will fall off the rolls. People will be evicted from their homes. We have so many small businesses, you know, who are on the verge of going out. This is a second round of PPP loans to help them. This includes resources to get the vaccine out, to distribute that at a critical time. So this is an emergency pandemic relief package with the country in a really, really tough time, and to do this and to veto this makes no sense to me.
But explain this to me real quick, and then I want to get to Congressman Reed. Should Pelosi be pushing the $2,000 price tag now?
Well, the president said, listen, the direct checks to people, which is critical, something that Tom and I have supported. If from my perspective, if they want to add more to make the president happy, I've always been for giving out more resources to be helpful to people right now who are in a tough time. So if we can help with that, terrific. But keep in mind, we worked so hard to bring this package together to get Democrats and Republicans on board. So I think we should pass this piece. We should get this piece of legislation signed, and then we should add more to it. And I'm happy we're introducing that today. And if the president signs it, that's terrific. But it doesn't make sense to blow the whole thing up and hurt people and undermine all the other pieces of this legislation, which are so critical.
Right. Congressman Reed, will Republicans?
So before we look at remarks from Tom Reed, I have to tell you that what Josh Gottheimer said made a lot of sense. Let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree. Does it make sense to blow up the whole deal? Does it make sense to essentially put the whole thing on hold because there are elements that the president is not happy with? Again, these are elements that were discussed by representatives of the administration like the USS Steve Mnuchin, and by the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, and by the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who acted in coordination with the White House, and now the president has said that he's not happy with aspects of the deal. Should the whole thing be reconfigured, be reconsidered, and should the bill be opened up and read all over again? I did mention another video that Roy Blunt, the senator from Missouri, the number 4 Republican senator in the Senate, said that opening it up would not be a good idea. Almost, I'm paraphrasing, almost like opening up a can of worms. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now let's take a look at what Tom Reed from New York said. And let's listen in on what the Republican said. And keep in mind, he is a supporter of the president, and he's a co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus. And I do believe both Josh Gottheimer and Tom Reed are individuals who played an important role in getting us to this point. Let's take a look at what Tom Reed, the Republican from New York, said.
Along with $2,000, and if they don't, what happens?
Well, that's exactly why going to the floor today by the Speaker, it only takes care of one piece of the equation from the president's objection, and it has to deal with the other side of the bill, which deals with the spending and the foreign aid lines and all that. That's why, this whole process, I think everyone agrees, and that's why we in the Problem Solvers Caucus are fundamentally trying to change Washington, D.C. to start working for the American people. Don't wait till these deadlines. Don't wait to put these massive bills together. Totally, I think there's broad agreement that we shouldn't do it this way, but we are where we are. So what we should be doing is focusing on where we agree. $900 billion of corona emergency relief, like Josh just articulated, needs to go out to the people today. We all agree on that. We worked on that. We found common ground. The idea of increasing the checks, we can potentially deal with that later. But I will just tell you right now, let's do what we can agree upon. Let's get this bill done. And I tell you, we're working around the clock since we got this curveball thrown against us here in the last 24 hours to get it done.
Congressman Reed, it's Scott. Good morning to you. So are you saying that you won't vote yes for the $2,000 if Speaker brings it to the floor this morning?
Kevin McCarthy made it clear he's going to object to it today. They're going to play this game on the floor of the House because that needs unanimous consent. That's why when we negotiated this for months and we worked with the White House representatives, we worked together on the COVID relief. And you're conflating when you talk about the spending side of this equation and the COVID relief. They're two separate items. Now, it's a shame that we had to put it all together because Congress waited till the last minute like it always does, and that's a frustration I share with all my colleagues that we got to change Congress to do a better job at this. But the bottom line is the $2,000 issue is separate and distinct from where we found the common ground in the COVID relief bill with $600, the unemployment of $300 being increased. Now, if you put the $2,000 in there, are you going to go back to the unemployment issue that got the compromise done and say, well, we're giving cash of $2,000? Well, now I'll hear my members, I know colleagues are going to say, reduce that to zero, because why should you give them $300 additional a week in unemployment when they're getting $2,000 cash payments? And then this whole thing starts to unravel. We need to deliver this now to the American people. That's why it's so critical. We're going to get this done. And we're not stopping in the Problem Solvers Caucus because this is what we do. We put people first and don't play the political theater.
Now that was a lot to unpack there. I hope you folks were paying attention, the one thing that jumped out at me was when Tom Reed said that Kevin McCarthy, his Republican in the House, the number one Republican in the House, actually, Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, his words, Tom Reed's words, I quote, they'll play these games on the floor of the House and they go back and forth. He also talked about the fact that the whole thing is likely to unravel. He said that if they do $2,000 stimulus checks, there'll be people who want to take away the $300 a week. This is not a simple binary matter. This is not a black and white matter. This is a complex matter involving several congressmen, several congresswomen, involving several senators. They have not agreed for months. How can we expect to just snap our fingers and get them to say okay to the $2,000 stimulus checks while keeping the other aspects of this provision, the $300 a week, which are so crucial? Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. And not only did Congressman Tom Reed allude to that, Congressman from New York, but Senator Roy Blunt, the number four senator in the Senate, the Republican senator, he's pretty much the top Republican senator who's chimed in on this. They are basically saying, no, it's not going to happen. And I had said this, when the president first made an announcement that this is probably not going to be likely. So what's the president going to do? Is the president going to remain firm with his position? Is he going to find a way to backtrack? So this is, the president may have boxed in the Republicans initially, may have created a checkmate situation for the Republican Senate. But now, based on responses from, you heard it from Republican Tom Reed, and you heard comments from Roy Blunt, the senator from Missouri, the number four Republican senator, the number four most powerful Republican senator in the United States Senate. You heard them say this ain't going to happen. So now it looks like the president has to make a choice, and guess who's boxed in right now? Just unbelievable that we are even here. Let's listen to what else Tom Reed had to say, because again, this is a very rough situation. Everybody, let's go back to Tom Reed.
But I'm just wondering, Congressman Reed, what you think about the position that the president has put you in. He's put your party in a bit of a box, hasn't he?
Well, obviously, that is a frustration that I think many of my colleagues and myself, working with the president, I was one of the first 8 to endorse the president. And I will tell you, when you raise these issues at the last minute like this, it's very concerning. But I understand the frustration of the president. I understand this presentation. But blindsiding folks and doing this at the last second, to me, is not conducive, because the American people are the ones who lose in this fight.
That's important, everybody. I don't know if you caught that, but he said that the president just blindsided the entire Republican Party. That's basically what Tom Reed just said.
The American people, and this is where I speak to the president right now, the American people, millions of American people, we negotiated this. They're waiting for this relief. There were people being hired on Monday because they're waiting on the Paycheck Protection Program. Tens of thousands of people are going back to work. I implore the president, please think of those people, and I encourage him, sign this COVID relief bill. I understand your concern about the foreign aid. I totally appreciate that. But the people that we negotiate for this $900 billion are waiting for this relief, and it can be done. It can be done with a stroke of your pen, and you have the power to get it done.
Yeah, so Congressman Gottheim.
That is also pretty incredible, everybody. You just heard a Republican congressman from New York, Tom Reed, from the Problem Solvers Caucus, the co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, basically tell the president, that this needs to get done. We've been blindsided, and please, sign it and sort this out. You heard the Republican congressman basically plead with the president and say, let's just sort this out, and you can resolve all of this with the stroke of your pen. You heard it, and let's see what the president decides to do. Let's go back and resume the video and listen to the last part of this segment.
It's the only way to describe it. I mean, we don't have any idea where any of this is going to go.
Together, that was a separate.
Let's just go back a little bit.
I think that'd be great. I would support that.
Just a moment.
To
Sorry.
make sure the government doesn't shut down next week?
Well, as you just pointed out, if he doesn't sign this bill, which is going to his desk, the government will shut down in the 28th. Which throws a whole nother series of problems for veterans and seniors and getting people's medication. That's a whole nother problem. So what I'd encourage is sign this bill. Get this bill passed. It's something we agreed upon. His representatives were at the table. Don't deliver a giant lump of coal in people's stockings on Christmas when they're desperately in need. To our families and our businesses and our communities, get that done. Let's get the vaccines out to people. And if he wants to separately vote up and down, which I'm happy to do, on more resources to people and more stimulus checks, I think that'd be great. I would support that. Keep it separate, but don't blow everything up. And I think how this plays out, I'm hoping that, as Tom just said, that he signs the piece of legislation. We can have a separate debate on more checks and get those dollars out. In terms of the foreign aid pieces that he's complaining about, those were, again, all part of his budget. So we passed that all together. That was a separate piece of legislation, part of the same package we voted on. But it's passed. It's signed. It will, and let's just sign it all, get it done, and help people at Christmas time here. It makes no sense to blow this all up and to shut the government down here.
Congressman Reed, before we let you go, you've been a supporter of President Trump's over the years. Curious what your view is of the number of pardons that we've seen, not just the number, but who, including, of course, Manafort, Stone, Charles Kushner, and how you think that is going to impact, if it will at all, this conversation around stimulus and other measures that may happen between now and January.
So I don't think it's going to impact this conversation about stimulus and getting it signed. But obviously, this is a presidential power, and I leave that, again, up to the people. I believe in the power of the people and the wisdom of the people to review it. I know the pundits and folks in D.C. will judge that from their own perspective. But I encourage the president, when you issue these pardons, understand it has an impact on the presidency. It has an impact on how people are going to look at that power. But it's his power, and it's under the.
So that's it, everybody. Let me know what you think. Let me know. I mean, it was interesting how Tom Reed handled that last question. He kind of sort of got behind the president. But gosh, this is one thing is for sure. The Republicans are scrambling right now, and Democrats are also scrambling right now in an effort to A, avoid a government shutdown, B, this is what the Democrats want, provide $2,000 stimulus checks despite all the roadblocks. The president wants it, but I don't think Republicans will get behind it. I don't see the Republicans getting behind $2,000 stimulus checks. Should there be $2,000 stimulus checks for those who need help the most? Absolutely. But at this point in time, it's looking very, very, very unlikely. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about whether the president should essentially sign or what you think of the Republicans' position in there. What the Republicans are saying, you heard it from Tom Reed, that they're essentially being blindsided. So let me know in the comment section, everybody, and I look forward to exploring this further, and I'll report news to you as it happens. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I appreciate you being a viewer. I appreciate you being a subscriber. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. And if you want to get on our SMS alerts list, just get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. You'll get added to SMS alerts list moving forward. Now, keep in mind that when you get on our SMS alerts list, you'll get important news, you'll get breaking news, and you'll get announcements about any future training programs on investment and how to grow your money. You'll get information about those types of training programs if you're interested. You can opt out of the SMS alerts at any point in time that you want. Now, if you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and then you'll get added to our email list going forward. You can opt out of the SMSs or the emails at any point in time. Now, the Ignition Time channel is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about your money. Our goal is to help you overcome the cycle of poverty. Here's the cycle of poverty on your screen. This is the thing that holds most of us back. Because once you're in a cycle of poverty, it's very hard to break out of that. It's very hard to get to the next level financially. I will help you get to the next level financially because I have lived through the cycle of poverty and now I live the American dream. I want to teach you how to live the American dream. Now, keep in mind that YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all I ask you to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. So go ahead and bookmark our channel. This way you can visit the home page of our channel and check out our videos at any point in time that you want. So make sure you do that. Follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So follow us on Instagram, and then you'll get exclusive news as an Instagram follower. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So make sure you follow us on Twitter for real-time alerts and breaking news on Twitter. Also, please comment below. One of the things I'm personally extremely proud of is our community. Our community is intelligent, it's growing, it's bipartisan, it's respectful. So comment below, engage in a healthy debate with our fellow Americans. I want you to know that for me personally, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I am American. We are all Americans first. So we need to unite, we need to be able to heal as a country, and we need to be able to move forward. That is what the Ignition Time channel is all about. Please share this video with 2 friends or family members, just 2 friends or family members. That would mean a lot to me. And finally, if you learned something new from this video, please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. Gently ignite that subscribe button, because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.